Intro. The Beekeeper was a movie about the titular character, as you would have been shocked to know, but other than this being the only movie you'll ever see about a beekeeper, it's also a Jason Statham movie. So you know what you're gonna get into with this one. So the only context you need to not know before going into this movie is that Jason Statham has what the industry calls a no-lose clause, or something very similar to it. It just means in a movie he can't really lose a fight because it would be illegal. Basically, you know what's gonna happen in the movie. The worst situation any of his characters could be in is that the fight ends in a draw or something. Just remember this when the movie plays out because you can kind of tell when this clause is stretched to its limits. Now for the story of the movie, remember, spoilers, we start to see rural Massachusetts, probably in some random town, but we see Adam Clay work hard to take care of the bees. We also see his close friend Eloise Parker, as she does a lot of work, including for the charity she runs. One day, all of a sudden though, Eloise falls for a phishing scam. This drains all the money out of her bank account, and that causes her to commit, let's call it seppuku. This causes Adam to become really sad as his friend is gone. Then he gets arrested by the FBI, as you do now. Adam is then cleared really quickly for something in the US, and then is let go. By the way, the person who arrested him is Eloise's daughter, keep that in mind, named Verona. Then Adam gets to call the group of people the movie is based off of, the Beekeepers. Wow, shocker. Are you shocked? I bet you would be. Anyways, he calls them to get some information about the scammers. If you can't tell already, these are ex-government assassins. Oh wait, they found where the call's from. It's from Springfield, Massachusetts. Then we get to see Jason Statham do what he does best, legally. That's action. He goes into a call center where the scam has happened from, counts down, and then he fights the guards and then everyone and their fish's mother. This is, of course, ends up with Adam winning the fight and then burning the call station down. This is a sign of something. Then after that, Adam continues to track down the people who harmed Eloise, and that's with somebody named Mickey. This is the boss of the call center. Adam then fights everyone around him and takes them all out, mainly with a bandsaw, but takes out Mickey afterwards. He does this by tying him to a forever moving truck. Now in a short span of time, multiple things happen. 1. Adam warns Derek that he's next. 2. Derek falls and tells the former CIA director Wallace that Adam is after him. Wallace then tells Janet about Adam. 3. We learn that the CIA works with Derek's tech firm. This is how the CIA goes after Adam for our fourth and final thing in this fast-paced moment. A true blink and you'll miss it series of events. Then Adam goes to a gas station. Totally nothing out of the ordinary would happen here. I'm kidding. Random assassin attack, do your thing. This assassin is a beekeeper though, so it's scary except not. She gets defeated and burnt. Boo womp, buddy. This sends a message for neutrality for beekeepers. Derek then starts to head to Boston, which by the way is a 4-hour drive with traffic, so that's stupid. Wallace then decides to get a Call of Duty Black Ops team for defeating Adam, though they are briefed on what we all kind of knew, and that was the fact that the beekeepers are assassins. Crazy stuff. They operate above the government level and are inspired by bees and beehives. Are you shocked? Anyways, they start to send a team to kill Adam as he tries to get into the White House. He basically also defeats the SWAT team as he goes through the White House, as you would do, I guess. That's a joke, by the way. Please don't do that, please. Anyways, we learn Derek is the son of the President of the United States, named Jessica. They take Derek and Jessica to a mansion filled with people who are against the beekeepers, because that would totally exist in this society. Also, beekeepers aren't allowed to attack people close to the president. Anyways, Adam attacks people close to the president, but at a mansion. This is also while a party is going on, so who knows who's around him. He goes through the teams to get to Jessica, but as this happens, a lot of stuff happens in the inter-family relations. Jessica and the FBI deputy director pester Derek about his misdeeds, since that's what gets them there. One of those misdeeds, other than scamming people, is that he rigged the election for Jessica. Jessica gets upset at this and then says, like, you'll be exposed to him. Derek then kills the FBI director and threatens to do the same to Jessica. Before he does, though, Adam kills him and then goes on the run. He gets held at gunpoint, and you would think that that's it, but luckily it's not. Adam is let go and then goes on the run into the ocean. The end of the story. Now we can talk about the majority of what action movies are now. It depends on what angle you're looking at it from, but we can majority agree on the homogenization of it. You go to the movies, I go to the movies, so we both know how superhero movies have also influenced the way action movies now are written and shot like. This can be seen in the John Wick films. John Wick, which was critically praised by a lot of reviewers, really sent a shockwave in what action movies could be. It proved they could be more thrilling, but the problem is now that effect can wear off. It takes more than thrill to make a good movie. If that weren't the case, most horror movies would be really good. Now we can take a closer look at The Beekeeper, which I think is one of its flaws. It's fully action-paced, and stuff kind of just happens. When you watch the movie, it's just characters really doing stuff, and it kind of connects. I mean, some things in the movie were kind of good surprises, but some of them weren't. One of the things that wasn't was the Derek being the son of the US president twist. The movie could have done without the plot twist, and really could have went in any direction. It really just elevated the film to a level it didn't need to be at, but it decided to go towards it for some reason. It didn't make sense considering the movie was originally about revenge, and now you bring this into it. If the movie's scale was more consistent rather than being cool, and trust me, that is a big factor in this movie, it would have been a little better. The problem with this and the percentage of action movies now is they don't recognize scale and have to outdo what the last one was if it's in a franchise. But even if it's not, they set a scale that it doesn't have to be at. The real problem with scale is what the movies do, and due to legal reasons, they do it well for a certain audience. That being the coolness factor of movies. Action movies now feel of, I can do this, rather than focus on telling a story, which is only half the battle. There were exceptions, but this isn't one of them, really. Now let's get into something we should really know about, a no-lose clause. A no-lose clause is a legal binding thing that says legally the actor who is in it, or signed on to it or whatever, can't lose a fight on screen or in any movies. This is basically to have and maintain a tough guy image and all that stuff for how people see them. Since public image totally is just how tough you are and not what you say and stuff. No. Other actors that have this are The Rock and Vin Diesel, who are also both coincidentally in the Fast and the Furious franchise. You can tell when an actor has this clause because they'll be in fights that there's no way to win, and the movie seems more bloated in action than anything else. There's so much action you kind of forget everything else. This also makes the movie predictable. Imagine, right, that you're watching a school fight and you don't know who's gonna win, but then one of the people in the fight says they legally can't lose a fight. The other person has to give up then and makes the fight more boring. You can tell by the amount of action in this movie, really just how many times I had to say Adam beat up this thing or Adam defeated blank, that Jason Statham has a no-lose clause. It's hard to explain battles in this movie with anything that resembles uniqueness, only because they are either close or resemble each other in a way because he just defeats everyone. Now that we got the main actor out of the way, we can talk about the main supporting cast who don't have a no-lose clause. The supporting cast I really want to talk about is Emmy Raver-Lampman, Josh Hutcherson, and Felicia Rashad. Since they are the most interesting and convenient to the plot, I just wanted to go over their performances briefly. First, I think Lampman as Verona was used better than most of the supporting cast in this movie. The arc she has isn't the best, but she can't control that. It also makes sense that she gets the most amount of screen time since her character is more integral to the plot and whatnot. It's something that actually drives the story along, but the performances could have been better. It's not like the best, but it's not horrible as well. Then we have Hutcherson as Derek. His performance is pretty good since he's the main villain out of all the ones that are in the movie. It's somewhat hard to tell, but that's more of a story problem than a performance problem. As the villain, he gives a satisfactory performance, as it's not his best, but it's not bad or horrible either. It just does the job of what it's supposed to be. Lastly, We have Rashad as Alois, which we barely say. An integral person to the plot of the movie, yet we barely see any of this character. It's a good performance, but the problem is we don't see enough of it to see it if it's fully good or not, since her character is really there to kick the plot off. It could have been so much more if it was emotionally you get connected to this person, but instead we get a character that's underutilized. It's underutilized a lot, but it could have been way better if we saw more of the character in action before she got dead. The music for The Beekeeper is interesting. It's not bad at all, but it's not the best a movie can offer. It acts more like filler than anything else, which isn't bad. That's what music is primarily used for in movies like this now. It's just nothing to write home about, or whatever. It could be better, but it's not like Interstellar, where it elevates the movie. The movie's score was composed by Jared Fry and seems to be mainly composed of shorter bits and pieces of music. It makes sense that they aren't full tracks, as let's be honest, that would be a waste of time. You might be wondering why that would be a waste of time, and that's because of how the audio is mixed in this movie compared to others. To look at the way music is usually put into a movie, we can use two examples, Interstellar and Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. In Interstellar, the music is used to elevate a scene and to make people feel an emotion. It mixes somewhat okayly with the scenes, but that's just how it's mixed. It's something used to fill the silent moments in action. The second one with Scott Pilgrim can be seen as something to tell a story and to draw people in. It's the main focus of the movie, so you have to know what a good soundtrack is and what it means. It takes over the voices at some points, and voices are usually mixed in to blend with it. This is different from how The Beekeeper does it, which is a weird balance for the movie. The Beekeeper has the music on more of a silenced filler for not the action sounds type of deal, which I think is the personal choice of the movie, but that may be whatever. The only time you really hear the music is when it's on like the radio or something, where it actually is the main focus. It also sometimes acts like a calm before the storm type of deal. It works, but it also has its flaws. It quietly elevates the movie, but it makes the tracks blend in with each other and not stand out. It has pros and cons, but it's up to the listener to decide which is which, really. Now we get to look at the numbers for the movie. It might surprise you or not, depending on your opinion of the movie if you've seen it. The movie made a total of $162.2 million compared to a $40 million budget. It clearly made a profit, but it's unclear by how much, since marketing is never really mentioned for costs. Overall, a lot of that may be because people see it as a Jason Statham movie. Now for the review scores. On IMDb it has a 6.3 out of 10 and a Metascore of 53. For Letterboxd it has a 2.7 out of 5, so not looking too hot for the movie. Luckily for this movie, the kind website of Rotten Tomatoes swoops in to give it a 71%. That's good news, but it seems like the critics were more mixed on this movie than most. But I don't know what. This all means that the movie isn't in any top 250s, but it might be in someone's personal top 250. Depends on the viewer though, so these critic reviews aren't anything to go off of. Sadly, not too many facts right now other than it was filmed in Massachusetts, and also that it's the only movie you'll ever see about a beekeeper. I lied, it won't be, they're making a sequel. Remember, with big dollar signs comes big visions for sequels. Different director but similar cast, so we'll see, I guess. Overall, the movie is okay. If you want a movie to just watch, then this would be a good suggestion. It's not bad, but also not too good either. It's just okay overall, which is why I would give it a 6.7 out of 10. Could be better, could be worse, but right now it's at the bottom of the movies I've reviewed. But remember to form your own opinion and all of that by watching the movie. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Pretty please.